The rise and fall of pharmacy is well documented. Once the poster child of the e-pharmacy boom, it reached a dizzying valuation of $5.6 billion at its very peak. But unfortunately, as we all know now, it didn't last. Today, the company is worth just $450 million, which is a 90% drop. From aggressive acquisitions to regulatory hurdles, even a failed IPO, Pharmacy's journey has been a cautionary tale of overreach. But the brains behind the operation, Siddharth Shah, well, he isn't done yet. He's back at it again with a new venture. Except this time, Shah has taken on the role of investor, while the founder spotlight is now on his wife, Arpi Mehta. Their latest bet? Mako, a startup that wants to bring invisible aligners, at-home cosmetic dentistry, and dermatology treatments to your doorstep.
They started off with Toothsy, which was basically a dental aligner company. And basically, the company just offers dental aligners for any kind of teeth issues like crooked teeth, alignment issues, and all of those, all at the convenience of your house. Skinsy, on the other hand, offers cosmetology services that you would get from maybe a clinic like Cosmoderma or maybe a VLCC, right? So these clinics basically offer you all of these cosmetology surgeries, that is like laser and then your hydra facials.
That's my colleague DVLS Pranati. Now, Mako promises these treatments at mind-numbingly low prices. That's what got Pranati curious. How, despite its irresistible promise, convenience repackaged as medical-grade innovation, Mako seems to be struggling to take off. In January, the company raised funds at a valuation of a little over 2,200 crore rupees. And less than 6 months later, it is reportedly seeking capital at half that figure. Turns out, Mako is drawing quite heavily from the Pharmacy playbook.
They both have followed the same kind of patterns, and that's how you see, and that's how we can call it like a Pharmacy 2.0. They identified high friction, high cost sectors in healthcare and then injected venture capital to subsidize prices for all of the very heavy services, very expensive services. And then they promised scale through tech-led convenience.
But what worked well in the beginning very quickly started showing the same cracks in both cases.
If you go to any social media platform like, Twitter or Instagram or Reddit, you will just see people talking about how they've gotten, in quote unquote words, gotten scammed by, Mako and Tootsie.
Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from the Ken. I'm your host Rahil Philippos, and I don't chase the news cycle. Instead, every day of the week, my colleague Snigdha Sharma and I will tell you one business story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Tuesday, the 24th of June. Last month, Pranati booked a trial laser hair removal session through Mako's Skinsy.
There is a certain equipment that is required. There's a certain machine that is required for this laser hair removal. And that definitely does not look like a, transportable machine, right? So I wanted to try out this service to actually understand how is it being done.
While the average clinic would offer this particular service for anywhere between tens of thousands to a couple lakhs, Mako offered it for an almost too good to be true price of 99 rupees. So Pranati made the payment and then she waited.
Now the next day morning, it was 8, it became 8:30, 9 o'clock, nobody showed up. Not a call, not a text, nothing. At the end of the day, I get a call from, one of their customer care executives saying, oh, we had booked a laser hair. You had booked a laser hair removal appointment this morning, but it did not happen or whatever. Can you come down to our clinic so we can do it here?
Now, beyond just the minor monetary inconvenience, this incident pointed at something far more serious. A casual attitude to service delivery in a business dealing with people's bodies and faces. Mako's pitch is certainly seductive, but beneath it all, It's replicating the same mistakes India's healthcare boom has made before. Before we unpack what those are, let's try and understand the business better. When it was founded back in 2018 by Arpi Mehta, Praveen Shetty, Manjul Jain, and Anuradha Kale, there was only Tootsie, the aligners provider. And then 4 years later, Skinsy came along. It was only in 2022 that the two companies were consolidated under Mako. That's when it all ended up becoming a pricing play.
Now, every single time you book a service, a customer care person will call you. They will tell you that since you've had a chat with us already, we will be giving you an offer at a discounted price. And you can get aligners at even 46,000, 47,000. Now, that is like the cheapest that is available in the market for a service like aligners.
So, affordability is the real moat in the case of Mako. Case in point, it's business overseas.
They went ahead and acquired a Singapore based company that has its subsidiaries in the Gulf. So Mako is available in the Gulf as well. They're available in Dubai, in Qatar, in Bahrain, and in Kuwait. And Smile New is a company that has been established in the Gulf for a while. And they acquired the company. So in terms of capital cost, they do not have much. They've just rebranded that company as Mako. But for the same aligners, over there, if you look at the price conversion, it starts at 1 lakh in the Gulf.
Even with that hefty premium, its international operations contribute only 7 crore rupees in revenue. So you see what I mean? It's a lot like what PharmEasy did to diagnostics. Back when it acquired ThyroCare and started offering blood tests at home, it turned medical testing into a logistics problem. It ended up commoditizing the blood test. Accuracy started mattering far less than scale. In fact, just last year, the Ken ran a report on how PharmEasy was producing a significant amount of flawed and misleading results in its push for convenience. Now, Mako is doing something similar, but with aligners and skin treatments instead. With that comes an ever-growing list of problems and challenges. Inconsistent treatment quality, missed appointments, and procedures performed by personnel who may not be adequately trained. And then last year, the Dental Council of India noticed.
DCI alleged that Tootsie was violating their employing norms. Basically, they were sending out untrained and unregistered personals for dental procedures.
A founder of a rival firm that Pranati spoke to said quite simply, no dentist with an MDS degree would want to work for a startup. So instead, the founder said they train undergrads and put them to work. And it shows in both the product and the service. For instance, Invisalign, which is a US-based aligners company, asks for a full set of mouth scans and x-rays. Mako, meanwhile, often begins with mail-in impression kits costing about 799 rupees, processed without an in-person clinical review. So treatment failures end up becoming quite common. When we reached out to Arpi Mehta, she explained that her treatment planning team is led by some of the most accomplished orthodontists across India. She said each aligner and patient plan is 100% certified by orthodontists. And yet, the pattern is noticeable. The same eagerness to scale, the same price-led expansion, and the same investor-fueled burn. Stay tuned. Now, Mako has a pretty lengthy list of investors, 114 total, ranging from angels, VCs, PE firms, and institutions. It's managed to raise over 872 crore rupees from all of them combined. But the recurring thread tying all these rounds together has been Mehta's husband. Shah has participated in nearly every funding round, investing around 45 crore rupees as an angel and 94 crore more through the Siddharth Shah Family Trust. His sister Priyanka Shah has added 54 crore via her own trust. Mehta's also invested over 10 crore through her own trust fund. That's about 200 crore rupees only from the Shah family.
So both the companies have a lot of common investors. One that really stands out is Shivanand Mankikar and his family, that is his son and his wife. They've invested in PharmEasy and they've also invested in Mako. Now, the thing with Shivanand Mankikar is he is a management professor. And we had reported in one of our earlier stories that the entire idea of PharmEasy started off in their house with Shivanand Mankikar. Like, he was the one who gave the idea of Farm Easy to Siddharth Shah and his family, right?
But unfortunately, this hasn't exactly resulted in profits. 7 years in, Meko is still loss-making. Its cash reserves are also not much to go by. 95 crore in March 2024, which is just 4 crore up from the year before. Meanwhile, long-term borrowing has quadrupled, while short-term debt has dipped slightly. You see, to stay afloat, Meko has turned to expensive debt. It's issued non-convertible debentures to lenders such as Stride, Altiria Capital, Incred and Blacksoil at interest rates of 13 to 15% annually. At the same time, Meko cut its workforce by 16% over FY23 to 24. People in the know told the Ken that the layoffs were an attempt to manage burn and slow down cash outflow. After all, this is a pricey business. Although the cost of manufacturing a set of aligners in India is surprisingly low, between 600 to 1500 rupees. That means one thing and one thing only: fat margins. In this case, we're talking around 70%. But those margins tend to disappear because of the brutal economics of D2C dentistry. There are very few success stories in this particular business. The often cited example is that of Smile Direct Club, a US-based D2C aligner that went public in 2019 at a $9 billion valuation. Cut to 2023, it filed for bankruptcy. In India as well, it has been the same story. The thing is, with this business, marketing spends are as high as ever, but the number of potential customers that end up placing an order is low. Meko alone shelled out 65 crore rupees on marketing in FY24. The founders of 3 competing aligner companies estimated that the entire Indian aligner market is only 1,000 crore rupees. But the biggest problem in all of this is that aligners are a one-and-done product with no repeat customers. So D2C players are caught in a loop. Spend big to acquire each customer, deliver the product, and then start all over again. It's why many are abandoning the D2C dream.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings. A full subscription unlocks daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and podcast extras. Head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the website. Today's episode was hosted by Rahil Philippos, produced by me, Snigdha Sharma, and edited by Rajiv CN.